Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 1 year anniversary of Radio Free Professional Wrestling. David, we made it. One full cycle around the sun with me at the controls. How in the world did we do this?
Because you're lovely. It's perfectly simple. Because you're lovely, determined, and yeah, people said it wouldn't last, but they said that about my marriage. But while Bev's locked up in the shed, we'll be perfectly happy, And I haven't had to lock you up in the shed, so everything's good.
Legal, we need to talk after the show.
You love it.
It's been an interesting week in professional wrestling. I think we had some really, really highs and some really, really lows, and we're going to talk about them in the Stunning 6 questions.
It's time for the Stunning 6 question. All the whys and what have they done now? Hopefully, David and Sean can make sense of it.
David, as we're recording, we're about, give or take, 10 hours away from a WWE pay-per-view. And if I didn't just tell you there's a WWE pay-per-view today, I wouldn't know it if I watched Raw or SmackDown.
No, absolutely. The build has been non-existent. The WWE at the moment are just getting their pants pulled down anywhere, everywhere, no matter what they do. It was interesting to see the ratings results on certainly on Dynamite. I've not seen any on Rampage at the time of recording, but at the moment, this could be quite possibly one of the least watched WWE pay-per-views of all time.
Which leads me to my first stunning question. Were Raw and SmackDown the worst go-home shows to a pay-per-view in WWE history?
Wow, I don't know about history, but certainly in recent memory, I think is a fair point. Look, I know we're going to go through the card later on for the purpose of my Churchill Cup retention, regaining. Sorry, I do apologise for that. But yeah, they didn't build. It was both of them. And it's unusual for SmackDown because normally there are some plus points from SmackDown occasionally. You certainly don't get any from Raw. Even Alexa Bliss now, for me, has run its course. I'm hating that now. And I like Alexa Bliss as a performer and an individual, but no. And looking at the Extreme Rules card, there's no real reason to watch it, apart from maybe one match. And we know the outcome of that match. So, yeah, I don't know about in company history, but certainly in recent memory, you've got a point.
David, we didn't know that the main event would have been an Extreme Rules match until the 11th hour, where they literally flash it on the bottom of the screen.
But Sean, what you have to bear in mind as well, this is the WWE's version of an Extreme Rules match. You're not going to get a CCW version. You're not going to get a Game Changer version. Hell, you're not even after the Moxley, Eddie Kingston, Suzuki Gun, or as who was it keeps calling him, Suzuki Goon, of the commentary team. You're not going to get that version. You're going to get a PG Extreme Rules, which sort of is a contradiction in terms. Pointless.
Okay, so let me slide over to my second stunning question. Going on my theme here about WWE Extreme Rules, question number 2. Should the Demon use weapons? I mean, if you look back on Friday Night SmackDown, the ending of the show, you saw the Demon Finn Balor appear like magic, take out the bloodline, he grabs a kendo stick, beats them down, then gets a steel chair, and beats the heck out of Roman Reigns to go off the show. So we already seen the Demon get the comeuppance on Roman, so we know how this is going to go.
Yeah, exactly. That gives it away because on the go-home show, the babyface, or what is in theory the babyface, stands tall in the ring. So you know how the pay-per-view is going to end up. Yeah, of course he should use weapons. He's got a nullifier, size and strength advantage. Yeah, we know the Demon's agile. We know he's got lots of good moves, and the match is going to be decent. It's the one match that off the card that I want to see, despite WWE's best efforts. But you ultimately know the result. Roman Reigns is retaining.
David, you remember about a month ago when I was talking about this match and how hyped I was for this match?
Yeah, I do.
Fast forward a month, and I really don't care about this match now.
There's 2 reasons for that. One, the sheer banality of the WWE, and 2, the excitement in and around AEW over the last month. And you can't, they're both contributing factors. That I think they're equal. And as I said we called it months ago, Sean. We called it months ago. The WWE have got to be careful. I can see them being sold and going out of business. Not out of business, but something seriously going wrong with the company soon.
Okay, David, you talked about AEW. So why don't we slide over to stunning question number 3? What was your highlight from the Arthur Ashe show for AEW?
Well, that's a no-brainer, really. It's almost a rhetorical question. Omega Danielson, it delivered. It made the hype. The hype was, I was transfixed. Admittedly, the crowd helped because the crowd were just, on both nights, the crowd were just magnificent. But yeah, Omega Danielson was superb, absolutely superb, and it reaffirmed why we are professional wrestling fans in the purest form.
Exactly, David. I do believe. I think the first night, Wednesday night of the Arthur Ashe show, was the better of the 2 nights. I'll come on later to talk about the second night, but even the minor matches on night 1, the crowd was just into it. You could literally put me and you in that ring. They probably would have enjoyed it for like the first 30 seconds until they figured out we couldn't wrestle.
I mean, they're just. The dynamic. I mean, I think what they get 1.2 million for that, which is the 3rd best Dynamite / All Out or show. But to sell out Arthur Ashe 2 nights within 3 days of each other, it's just fantastic. It's fair play to them.
David, I do believe they should use Arthur Ashe Stadium as their go-to stadium for the city of New York when they visit New York, and make it like a once-a-year thing, because I feel like, hey, it's unique, it's different. Yes, I know everybody wants to do Madison Square Garden because it's the mecca of sports, but hey, why not do something different?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a great point. If they can do it around the schedules, because let's face it, it's not used for much more other than tennis. I don't believe, I'm sure our American listeners will correct me if I'm wrong, but, it's not like MSG, where MSG has so many events on it and you have to fit in the MSG schedule rather than the other way round.
Okay, David, so I want to talk about a card that I'm more excited about than WWE Extreme Rules, and it's a month away. It's Bound for Glory by Impact Wrestling. Yes, those words are coming out of my mouth right now, because stunning question number 4, are you ready to see Mickie James versus Deonna Purrazzo? And oh, by the way, how about Christian Cage versus The Walking Weapon?
Now, young Sean, you may have to rephrase that for our English viewers, because using the phrase walking weapon to an Englishman is a bit of an insult. It has a totally different connotation over here, and I'm sure our English listeners will maybe pull you up on it. So, am I looking forward to Bound for Glory? Certainly more than any other WWE pay-per-view. On Impact, even though they've got a form of spectators in recently, it's not really led to anything particularly exciting. I hope they get a reasonable audience for this. It is their big show of the year. So, I'm expecting some surprises, maybe a couple of debuts. Am I looking forward to Christian Cage versus the Walking Weapon? Yeah, I am. I mean, Christian Cage, as he showed the other night, has still got it. Really, really has. His performance in the 6-man tag was very good. His performance at All Out was very good, and it's handy that he's appearing on Impact. I think it's very clever how they've done that. So yeah, I'm moderately looking forward to it. I shall certainly watch it. Let's put it like that.
Well, I think this is where Christian drops the title to Josh Allen, aka The Walking Weapons. But the match I'm more hype about is Mickie James versus Deonna Purrazzo, because we've seen the build up since NWA 73, and we both know these ladies can go in the ring. So yeah. I'm ready for it. Let me get my popcorn. I'm good.
Yeah, I agree. Well, let's hope it doesn't let us down. Because we need a little bit more other than AEW at the moment, because that's that, and the NWA to a lesser extent. But just fingers crossed, Impact can cling on and still keep doing some business, because there isn't a Ring of Honor show for a while now. So Impact have got to fill that void.
Okay, so we're going to slide over to stunning question number 5 for the week. What were your thoughts coming out of the Chris Kanyon episode of Dark Side of the Ring?
John Cena's a dick. It's my immediate thought. Excuse the swear jar there. I thought it was a very good documentary. I really, really enjoyed it. This Dark Side I'm not always a fan of the way Dark Side of the Ring present themselves, because I think sometimes they're very anti-WWE. But I enjoyed this one, and I enjoyed the whole show. I thought Chris Kanyon came over as a decent dude who was very, very unlucky. There's a lot of people considered him a very talented wrestler who didn't appear on that show, let alone people that did. But I didn't think, a bit like I think Cena had his Tommy Dreamer moment on that show, if you get my drift.
Yes, I was like, I can't believe John Cena said this, and I'm going like, okay, maybe there's more truth to the fact that he is a beep. But I was a Chris Kanyon fan when I was watching WCW back in the day, and I did believe he was like a generation ahead of his time because he was so innovative with his offense and stuff. But watching this Dark Side of the Ring, you see all the things behind the person you see on TV, and you realize that this person was a tragic, troubled figure who was battling a lot of personal demons. And it's just sad that he passed away, because if he was still alive today, he would literally be in AEW and we'd be watching more matches of his.
Yeah, I tell you, he did come over well. That was but I expected it anyway, because I think he's a decent fellow despite his gimmicks and stuff. Was Jim Mitchell? I've never ever not disliked Jim Mitchell, but I thought, I really warmed to him in this. It's just a shame. It just shows that eras, prejudices, they're just not acceptable, and even we're not going back that far. It's just the fact that he really felt the way he did over his sexuality, and couldn't do what you could do today. It's just a shame, and it really is. And because he was a talent, and it would have been nice to see him around the business today.
Exactly, David. There's no easy way to slide to stunning question number 6, so we're just going to go over to it. What were your thoughts about the ending to your dream match of Bryan Danielson versus Kenny Omega? Were you happy with a 30-minute draw? Because there's some fans out there going like, why in the world was it a 30-minute draw?
No, I was fine with it. I think it was a reasonable solution. Once they made it non-title as well, which I thought was clever, Danielson saying, at this point in time, it's not about the belt. I thought that if they didn't do that, Danielson had to win. I couldn't see Kenny going over in that. But they let them both out. They both equally looked good. And yeah, I've got no problem with it, because you're going to get it again. And Jesus, if it's half as good as what we've just seen, Sean, I'm in. I'm totally invested.
David, for us, we're a little bit older than the current wrestling fan base. We kind of accept draws as being logical endings to matches. Oh, by the way, Sting versus Flair, the very first match Sting had made Sting was a 40-minute draw with Ric Flair. That put him on the map. So when I saw this thing heading towards the end, and I was going, oh, they're going to a draw. Okay, cool. And I like the fact that they didn't do that. Oh, hey, I got 10 seconds left. Let me make a cover. 1, 2. Oh, hey, the bell can save the person getting pinned. They didn't do that. They just brawled.
Yeah, they just didn't have enough time. Thus leading to, say, maybe give them a 60-minute Iron Man match. Maybe give them 60 minutes. Whatever you see fit. I thought it was very clever, very well done. It leaves it open. The match was just so good that people are going to want more. I certainly do. The analogy to Flair Sting is an excellent one. It really, really is. It's an excellent point about how a time limit draw can still gain you performers, elevation within the booking system. No, I don't think that. I thought they did it well. Really did. I've got no complaints.
Okay, so I'm gonna throw another analogy out for you. We just saw the first chapter in a modern day Ricky the Dragon Steamboat versus Ric Flair trilogy.
Wow, I haven't made that analogy, but do you know where I would have gone a little bit more? I would have gone a little bit more with Samoa Joe CM Punk trilogy, because of how hard hitting it was. No. I'm not trying to outscore you, but that was. I can see why you've made that thought. That was a thought that came to my mind with the match.
Well, David, that's going to wrap up our stunning 6 questions for the week. So why don't we slide over to your dud of the week?
It's time for Dud's Dud of the Week. What has set him off this week?
So, David, what has you raging inside that you need to speak on something?
Can you guess?
I'm going to say it's probably Cody Rhodes.
No, it isn't.
Okay, I don't have
It
an
isn't.
answer
At least they got the result right with that. However they came about it. I mean, I thought Cody got too much, and he brought Brandy out for that. But I was expecting that, so it wasn't a case of when she came out, it was like, oh Christ, because I knew she'd be out there. She can't avoid the camera, that woman. No, it's NXT again, Sean. I'm afraid it's just awful, and I turned it off this week. I'd had enough of it. I really, really had. LA Knight. I mean, why are they burying LA? What's LA Knight done? Seriously, what? I mean, no, it's a genuine question. What do you think LA Knight's done to be buried like this on a god awful show?
I get your answer for you, David. He's over 30, and he has the stench of independent wrestling.
Yeah, that's true, actually. Yeah. But he's not your average independent wrestler because he is a WWE wrestler. He can promo. He's got a good look. He's got the physical build and capability. And he doesn't work like an indie wrestler in the ring.
I know, David. It defies the logic. He should be the guy benefiting from this relaunch, but I just scratched my head at it. What? Oh, hey, got another question for you. What do you think about the trio of Toxic Attraction, Gigi Dolan,
Oh,
Mandy Rose?
right. We like Gigi Dolan. There's no two ways about it. Former Priscilla Kelly, even. We've made no secret of that. We've made absolutely no secret of that, of our like of that performer. But again, they'll just bury it now. And here we go. Another reason for me hating it on a similar line to that question you've just asked. And they've actually realised that this is so crap that they've already binned it after 1 week. Joe Gacy, the woke wrestler. Now, we know Joe Gacy from his indie days. All right, you've summed it up already about, he stinks of independent wrestler. But I sat there and I was like, oh, there's Joe. And then it was like, oh my God, what the hell am I watching? Unfortunately, because of the criticism that has endured, they binned it this week. It was announced in the last 48 hours that they binned this character as to what they're going to do with poor Joe now, who's one of their more talented pickups of recent years. Now, if ever anyone thinks I'm being unreasonable about NXT at the moment, watch that segment, knowing that you've got a very, very talented young wrestler doing that, being made to do that, being forced to do that. It's utter garbage. And there's no more to say.
Exactly, David. NXT has gone from being the must-watch show of the week to something that you can literally just fast forward and just get the highlights and you're good. And that's what I did literally with this past episode.
I can't believe Pete Dunne's re-signed. I really, really can't. I've got no problem with Ciampa being the champ, because he's, everyone loves Tommaso. And LA Knight should be in that mix. But obviously they're building up the man who must not be named, young Brock Bidman, or whatever his bloody name is, the young Steiner, because you can't obviously refer to him as Rick Steiner's son, which is ridiculous in itself. But no. If NXT never appears on my television again, that'll be a good day.
Exactly, David. If they don't get this push for Braun Breaker right, and they actually finally just go, hey, he's a Steiner. We'll admit he's a Steiner. Get behind him, please. If they don't do this, I'm going to freaking riot.
Mate, it's just rubbish. You've got a natural... Why would you not? Why would you not use... He looks like his dad. He wrestles like his dad. He can... Obviously, he's had a good background and a good grounding. But why? It defies. I'm not a booker. We say this time and bloody time again. We're not bookers. We're just long-term fans who like what we know and have some insight into how we would book stuff, logically, with common sense. Why would you not? We've been wrestling fans between us, me and you, nearly 100 years. It's just stupidity. Just bloody stupidity.
Exactly, David. So we're going to slide over to the better part of the week. We're going to our top 5 of the week.
It's RFPW's top 5 moments of the week.
So, David, do you want to go first or you want me to go first?
Your turn this week, young man.
Okay, so my number 5 moment of the week came from Friday night AEW Rampage. It's CM Punk versus Powerhouse Hobb, because you literally saw Powerhouse Hobb get center stage put over despite losing to CM Punk. Punk made him look like $1 trillion.
Yep, can't argue with that.
Okay, so number 4 from NXT UK, David, you know where I'm going. It's Jenny versus Aew. That match was freaking awesome.
I'm not arguing with you. I'm listening. I'm waiting for you, mate. You've not let me down so far.
Okay, so number 3 this week was a promo on Impact that set up the feud between Mickie James and Deonna Purrazzo. I literally put it on our Twitter account. I think I did. If not, I'm going to put it on the Twitter account again because it was a great promo, and I'm ready for this match, like I already said. Okay, so number 2 of the week, you're probably going to shoot me. It's Bryan Danielson versus Kenny Omega. It's my number 2
Oh,
moment of the week. It's the second match. It's the highest rated match I have this week. And the only reason it's not number 1 is because number 1 is the episode of Dark Side of the Ring that had Chris Kanyo's story. And I wish everybody go out and watch that because you're going to learn a lot about Chris Kanyon, who was a great wrestler, but sadly had a tragic personal story.
okay. I'm nearly the same, but my differences are in 5th place. I got the Canyon story. Okay, I got the Canyon story. I got NXT UK as a whole in 4th. The Punk Powerhouse Hobbs, Matt, you nailed in your description. I got it number 3. You absolutely nailed that in your description. Punk has not lost a step in the ring, and it's so pleasing to see. And he made, as you say, Powerhouse Hobbs looks $1 trillion, which nobody had done before, and that is refreshing to see. At number 1, I've got Omega Danielson. No description needed to require. And at number 2, I've got something different, totally different, that you didn't pick up on, but hopefully you'll get where I'm coming from. Number 2 is Tony Khan and AEW themselves for their collaboration with the Owen Hart Foundation and the up-and-coming Owen Hart story tournament and what they're going to do with Owen Hart. Obviously, Martha Hart was never going to go to the WWE because at the end of the day, whether we like it or not, they murdered her husband. Be it manslaughter, whatever you want to take it as. And I think Tony Khan, he gets a lot wrong, but I think his heart's in the right place and he gets this right. He gets this bang on. And anything that brings Owen Hart to the forefront of new fans and young fans and also helps cement his legacy, I'm all for. And could it mean we also see Bret Hart in AEW as well again?
David, I do believe that it's a possibility we'll see Bret Hart or maybe Martha Hart award that cup to whoever wins the tournament. And it was going to be one of my news stories come up here towards the end of the show, but we'll go ahead and talk about it now.
Oh, sorry, mate.
No, you're fine. I do believe AEW deserves a lot of credit to bring Owen Hart back to wrestling fans because it's been forever, and Owen Hart needs to be honored in some way. And I perfectly understand why Martha doesn't want to have anything to do with the WWE. Perfectly understand it. So this is a logical move to get her late husband some notoriety that he deserves because the dude was freaking amazing, and he was taken away from us way too soon.
Yeah, can only echo that sentiment totally.
Okay, there's no easy way to slide away from the Owen Hart announcement, so we're just going to go over to the Churchill Cup because I'm still the reigning defending undisputed Churchill Cup champion for another maybe week.
It's time for the Winston Churchill Cup.
Okay, Mr. Smartmart, we got 6 matches in this pay-per-view called WWE Extreme Rules. I do believe you have the honors, and I'm down 1 point.
Yep, and I'm going to get a point here because I'm going to take Roman Reigns to retain over Finn Balor.
Wait,
Simple.
David, that's my island. That's normally my pick. How dare you?
Well, I need to retain, and I'm a point ahead. And obviously, if we tie, you retain. So I need to win. So I'm going to go with at least ensuring I get 1 point from this selection of matches.
Okay, fine. I'll counter with the SmackDown Tag Team Championship match, the Usos versus the Street Profits. Give me the Usos to retain.
Yeah, a fair one. I would have agreed with that. Now, this is going to hurt, but the Churchill Cup is more important than my prejudices, dislikes, and personal feelings. So I'm going to... Oh, fuck. This is hard to say. This really is very difficult for me, Sean. Very difficult. Becky Lynch to beat Bianca Belair and retain. And I'm sorry, Miss Belair. I really am.
Well, David, I feel like you're to the point where it's desperate times calls for desperate measures because you're turning to your arch rival to gain a point.
I know. I didn't enjoy that. I really didn't enjoy that, Sean.
Okay, with my second selection of this round, I picked the United States Championship match Damian Priest versus Sheamus versus Jeff Hardy.
Oh,
Give me Damian Priest to retain.
I would. Do you know what? If I'd have ended up with that, I was going with Jeff Hardy. So that'll be interesting to see how that turns out.
I'm just hoping the champion retains for another month, and that gives me at least 2 points here.
Yeah, I mean, it's a minor pay-per-view, so you're probably right. And going by that logic, I'm going to pick Charlotte over Alexa as well.
You see, David, if I had that as my option of a match, I would have gone Alexa Bliss to beat Charlotte.
Yeah, I could see why with the way they built this, but I still think Charlotte retains. I just can't see Alexa as ladies champion at the moment.
Okay, so in your logical way, you have left me with possibly the worst match of the card.
That should be a 5-star match if ever I've seen one.
Morgan versus Carmella. So give me the quote-unquote most beautiful lady in WWE. Give me Carmella to beat Liv Morgan.
That should be one for the ages, Sean. That. Oh dear. Yeah, I would have gone with that, to be fair to you. But we shall see. So, is that the final one before the cup? Or is Bound for Glory included in it? Are we doing Bound for Glory next week?
No, we are ending the cup on September 30th. This is the last one, so it's winner take all here, buddy.
Wow, and I'm a point up.
Exactly.
So if I can tie this 3-3, oh wow. Now I've got some interest in Extreme Rules. It's got cock all to do with WWE and their writing. It's just to do with you and the Churchill Cup, my friend.
Oh, I can already tell that mine is turning about the celebration next weekend if you win.
Mate, you know me. I'm very humble in victory.
Do you remember the first time we had the Churchill Cup victory? You sung "We Are the Champions" by Queen.
All right, I'll give you that. I may have done that. I may have done that. Yeah, all right. All right, I'm going to have to own that. Yeah, I'm sorry. Well, in that case, looking forward, future-wise, I'm going to be very humble. Anyway, more importantly, up the Cowboys. Dak Prescott, open mouth. Go on, you can beat those Eagles Monday night or early Tuesday morning for me. I thought I'd get that, and you'll probably edit that out, knowing you. But after their magnificent victory, where they absolutely thrashed San Diego by a couple of points, I've got high hopes now for the season if the defense can sort their lives out.
Well, you know what? I'm just living in the moment, and I'm perfectly happy with the Cowboys' record right now. And I've got my fingers crossed that they can beat the Eagles on Monday Night Football, and we can move on to the next week. But before we go, ladies and gentlemen, why don't we hit up the Control Center, and we talk about a few news stories, and tell you what we're looking forward to coming up this week.
This is your radio-free Pro Wrestling Control Center. All the wrestling news you need to know.
Okay, David, so our first story comes from Sports Illustrated, but yet you can also hear a interview done by Chris Jericho where he talks to Adam Cole for about an hour as they're talking about Adam Cole's debut to AEW. But in this story from Sports Illustrated, he was talking about how he actually didn't land in Chicago the day of the show. He literally came in a day earlier to a different city and then drove in and hid out in a trailer with Daniel Bryanson until the very last moment. Hardly anybody in AEW knew that Adam Cole was at the show until they heard the music.
Yeah, that's brilliant. I mean, AEW do stuff like that very, very well. Even to the point of the humane stuff, like with Brody, with holding his illness away from the public eye. I mean, they do stuff like that great. And the Adam Cole's match with Kaz and his performance on Rampage on the 6-man tag just shows the talent the guy's got. And someone from WWE listening to that crowd response, to the boom and the baby, even though he's a heel, someone needs sacking over that, letting him go. Ridiculous.
Now, if you listen to the Chris Jericho interview with Adam Cole, he literally tells you the moment he decided to make the jump over to AEW. And it was late at night, one night, and he was just thinking about it. He was the only person up, and he decided, I need to go with my heart. I need to come to AEW.
Yeah, and it's obviously the right decision. It's obviously the right decision.
Okay, so my second news story of the week, we kind of already talked about it, but this comes from Wrestling Inc., and it's talking about how the WWE kind of canceled their kind of woke character. We already spoke about Jordan Grace. And you cannot find any records of this character ever existing right now if you look on the internet, because WWE pulled the video down from his promo. There might be one picture of him sitting in the ring. But yeah, the WWE got in hot water because they had a woke character and the fans had a major backlash to it. And it gave the poor wrestler a lifeline, hopefully to have a better freaking character.
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much covered it. Joe Gacy, great independent talent. Was really pleased when he signed for NXT until I saw that, and then I felt so sorry for the guy. You almost get the impression it's the WWE taking the mick out of woke culture, but not getting it right, because they've actually got no sense of humour, apart from Vince's fart jokes, and it's just awful. And yeah, they got that badly wrong. So at least they have reacted to it and withdrawn it, which, you can hold your hands up and say, yeah, we got that one wrong, which at least they've done.
So speaking of more WWE crazy ideas, my next news story comes from KSideSeats.com. Keith Lee, our beloved Keith Lee, he's getting a nickname. They're going to start calling him Bearcat Keith Lee.
What do you want me to say? Do you want me to say, yes, Sean, that's a great idea. That's a really good gimmick. Now, who came up with that? He deserves a pay rise. Jesus. Again, it just sums up everything we've said in this show about the WWE and its booking. It's not booked by people who know wrestling. It's not booked by wrestling fans. It's not booked by historians, by people who know the business. It's booked by idiots.
Is this funny how you have this ready-made story about Keith Lee and his personal life, how he came up? This guy should be an uber babyface. It should be easy as paint by numbers. This guy, it should be money-making machine here. But yet they want to shoot themselves in the foot.
Yeah, and they do it very well. I mean, let's face it, they're running out of feet to shoot.
Okay, David, our last news story of the week comes from Cultaholic.com because, like we said before, Josh Alexander has used option C, so the X Division title is up for grabs. They're going to do a 3-way match at Bound for Glory for the X Division title, and they're going to have a series of 3-way matches to determine the final 3 competitors. And according to Cultaholic, the first match we're going to get to see is going to be Trey Miguel, Alex Zane, and Larry O'Kidd in a 3-way to determine the first contender. So are you excited about this match?
I'll be all right. I'd like to see Alex win. I think that they've given him a minor push from what I know of Impact and what I've seen of Impact. So that would be my thought. It won't be a bad match. It won't be a bad match. Will it be a 5-star one? Probably not. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing it. Yes.
You know, David, if they would literally just use this as the Bound for Glory match, I'd be like, hey, cool. And I would be like, either Trey Miguel or Larry O'Kidd should win this. But we'll see what happens. So before we go, David, the one thing I think we should talk about coming up this week is Wednesday night, because we're going to get Miro versus Sammy Guevara, and I can't wait to see Sammy beat the God's greatest champion.
Well, I think you're going to have to wait a while, because I don't think it's happening this Wednesday. As much as I love Sammy Guevara, I don't dislike Miro. I think Miro's been an excellent TNT champion, but I think he retains a bit longer. I just hope, obviously, Sammy goes over, because Sammy's a huge talent. But this is the first time for a long while that we've seen Sammy in the ring, Sean. So let's wait and see.
Exactly, David. I can see this going either way, but I know for sure this is probably going to be the match of the week, and it might appear in our top 5 coming up on next week's episode.
Yeah, it's headlining Dynamite.
So, David, we just finished our first anniversary show. So, why don't you tell the lovely people, have a great start to the week?
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all, as always, for your support, for listening, for downloading. If you're even listening to us, we appreciate it so much. We'll see you on the Rock and Roll Wrestling Show on Fan and Youth Radio is back on Tuesday at 5 p.m. at GMT. Please join me, and then it will be repeated a week on Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. So you can hear it again and hear what if you missed it because of the time difference. Have a great week, guys. We'll speak to you next week.
Ladies and gentlemen, this might be the last time I can say I'm the Churchill Cup champion, because I don't know how this Extreme Rules results are going to come out. I'm not the confident, cocky American I usually am. So I will say this. On behalf of your current champion, I wish you a very stunning start to your week. And David, you better hope you win, buddy.
Well, All the best, Sean. I'm going to be magnanimous. All the best to you, sir. Best of luck.
Exactly, because I want to need it because I'm a point down.
Yeah. To be fair, it could be worse. You could be Europe's Ryder Cup team.
See, I was nice. I didn't mention that one bit in the show.
No, man. No. You didn't have to. I did. I did. I love that sport. I love that tournament, and I've never turned it off before in my life. This weekend, I have.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you got your golf talk in, so let's go ahead and have a stunning start to your week. Until we see you next weekend, stay stunning.
This is Sergeant Arms of Christina on behalf of the guys. Thanks for listening to today's show. Please head over to Apple Podcast and leave a 5-star rating and a review. Until next time, the liberation continues.